It's a big day today as we wait in anticipation for Minister Enoch Godongwana to present his medium-term budget statement. Now, Cosatu wants the finance minister to grow the economy, and they are joining us this afternoon to share their views of what it is that they are expecting. We're joined by Cosatu's Matthew Parks. A very good morning to you, Matthew. Thank you for your time today. Now, as far as the government's policy and strategy, as far as National Treasury is concerned, you have been quite critical of it for quite a while now, saying that it has been unsuccessful. What, in your view, as Cosatu, would be the hallmarks of success? What would be the measure that you use for success?
I think for us as a trading movement, number one success would be to see jobs. Any economic strategy which has an economy with a 42% unemployment rate, that can't be judged as a measure of success. In fact, that's a ticking time bomb. It's a suicide mission. For us, it's about reducing unemployment, about rebuilding the state, delivering the public services that the economy, businesses and workers depend upon, about growing the economy. It's about overcoming load shedding, which has really crippled South Africa. It's about helping Transnet and Metro Rail to overcome the cable theft, the vandalism, the criminality, which has really devastated our railway network and our ports. It's about making sure that those who steal go to prison. I think for us, that's the hallmarks of success. So we hope to see government rising to the occasion, not being timid, but being bold and decisive. There's not a new budget, it's a medium-term budget statement, but we hope that they will really come to the party and say, we recognize we have an economic crisis, tepid economic growth, 42% unemployment rate, 60% youth unemployment rate. We have normalized corruption and criminality. We've got issues of load shedding, cable theft, and so on, collapsing municipalities. Here's a comprehensive, a bold sort of package which is going to intervene. We understand that in a budget, you'll always need to reprioritize expenditure at times, and that's fine. But it must be guided by the principles of protecting the poor and the working class, rebuilding the state, and growing the economy. So we hope that government will not disappoint us. We have had meetings with government, with the president, with the ministers of finance, and so forth. We've tabled some proposals on our own part as Cosatu. We think we should be expanding the SOD grant, which is giving relief to 8 million unemployed persons. Let's raise it to the food poverty line. We should be looking at how can we expand the presidential employment program to help young people enter the labor market, get some skills and experience, earn a salary. And of course, we need to give more support to Eskom around the issue of overcoming load shedding, to Transnet, to Metro Rail, to the other SOEs and municipalities. We should be giving more support to the police, the NPA, the law enforcement institutions to really tackle the levels of corruption and criminality. You would always obviously correctly ask, so where do you get this money for the shopping list? We think the best and most effective way of generating the revenue the state needs to provide support for the economy and so forth is to tackle tax evasion. We have a tax compliance rate of about 64%. So we just see with the conversation with SARS, how can we raise that tax compliance rate to 70%? That can generate an additional 120 billion rand of taxes, which is already owed to the state. So it can't be correct that 2 out of 3 people pay taxes and the third person gets a free lunch. So I think for us, those are the kind of interventions we hope to see. But a simple, knee-jerk, lazy approach of Treasury, which says that, well, we're in an expenditure crisis, therefore let's cut what we spend, that's not going to resolve anything. It's going to make matters worse. Because if you continue to squeeze public servants, all you do is to spark a brain drain. If you underpay nurses and doctors and teachers and so forth, what will happen then is that they'll simply go to better paying jobs in the private sector or overseas. That'll make it worse the public sector.
And Matthew, that brings me then to my next question, because based on what you've said, your strategy, or what would be an optimal strategy, would be one of actually investing in infrastructure, would be one of tackling the issue of state-owned enterprises and actually using more money to actually grow the economy and to bring down the fiscal deficit that we have. But we've heard from Minister Enoch Godongwana that there are going to be cuts, that austerity measures are what are going to be put in place. So we should really, as far as he's concerned, be expecting cuts in the public sector. How is that going to impact workers on the ground?
So look, it's always fine to reprioritize. When anybody's in a crisis, even at home, you reprioritize. But I think the principles must be protecting the poor, rebuilding the state, and growing the economy. So there is space, there is fat within the state. We'll be very happy, we'll celebrate if we could reduce the number of ministers from 28 or whatever it is currently to about 20. If we could take the number of deputy ministers from 34 to 5. If we could consolidate the number of municipalities from 259 to a much more manageable number, etc., and reduce the amount of councils we have, etc. So there is space to do that. But it'll be foolhardy to go and say, well, we need less nurses, we need less police officers, we need less teachers, we should have longer queues at Home Affairs. So I think for us it's about being smart and not being reckless. We need surgical interventions, we don't need a blunt instrument. But again, we have to go back to the hard issues affecting the economy. So we had a previous minister, a chap who masqueraded as Minister of Finance about 4 or 5 years ago, and he imposed a wage freeze in the public sector, said it would deliver miracles. It didn't. In fact, the state is in a worse crisis today because government didn't deal with the fundamental obstacles to growing the economy: load shedding, Transnet, Metro Rail, municipalities, etc., corruption and so forth. So we've got to do that. We're not saying you need to shift funds a bit here and there, but if we don't fix the economy, then there's no amount of pickpocketing public service that's going to deliver the results. The fact we'll be in a worse situation. If we don't, for example, fix Transnet in the next month or so, it's going to have a huge impact because the mining industry is the largest contributor of company taxes to the state, of foreign exchange for the economy, of investment and so forth. If it can't get its mineral exports to its destinations, then we're all going to be in deep trouble. And there's no amount of pickpocketing a nurse that's going to fix that. And again, one can pickpocket a nurse, that might be very entertaining for Treasury, but it's not going to make the trains run on time. So the government's got to do the hard issues and stop looking for shortcuts.
And if you are going to cut, you did acknowledge that cuts will have to take place, but those cuts have got to be pragmatic. If there were to be cuts, where would you cut if you were the finance minister?
Yeah. We think there's a couple of options. One is to cut on top, cut what the politicians earn, cut what the senior management earns. It's beyond scandalous, obscene, that, for example, the executives of the Road Traffic Management Corporation, who basically issue out speeding tickets, earn more than the President of the Republic makes. So there's space on top to cut the fat, and those are the ones who should pay the price, not nurses who barely earn a minimum wage. We think there is space to reintegrate many of these agencies and entities back into the state, because that's going to save a significant amount of money to the state in the longer run. Have them back in the public service. We should be saying, let's shift money to invest in the economy, to support industrialization, to support export incentives, to invest in infrastructure, because that's money that will have a positive generating effect, which will help stimulate the economy, help grow businesses, and that's going to help then earn tax revenue for the state. We should be saying to SARS, especially SARS, the revenue service, what do you need to get us from a tax compliance rate from 64 to 70%, because that'll give you revenue. So there's a smart way to do things. It recognizes there's a multiplicity of crises, and of course there's a reckless, lazy route to do it, and we hope we'll go for the smart, not the lazy route.
We thank you so much for your time as well as your insight this morning. That's Matthew Parks from Cosatu ahead of the medium-term budget statement that's taking place later on today.